Welcome back to D Green Man Anime Review, Part 5. This will be technically this is considered to be the 5th season of the series. It's a revival of the series happened in 2016 called Hollow. Yep, D Green Man Hollow. It's only 13 episodes. Yeah, surprisingly 13 episodes. But unlike the previous seasons where it takes a good period of time to adapt these chapters, they decided something quite different with these particular episodes. Oh yeah, this one covers several arcs. It covers at least 5 arcs, the last 5 that we released. It covers Disappearance of Cross Marion, Phantom Thief G, Artificial Exorcist, and Seed of Destruction, along with the opening chapter of Search for Alan Walker. Yep. Also, for some reason, they decided not to adapt the arc that came between Invasion of Black Order and the Disappearance of Cross Marion. Yeah, for some reason they decided not to do this one, even though it's a comedy one. It's a comedy arc involving some zombies, which I still don't get why they never adapt this arc. It's really weird. Yep. Now, the season kind of picks up kind of where the end of the last season left off, with even though stuff credits rolling and stories still going on. Now, Disappearance of Cross Marion. This is a story that lasts just for the opening episode and part of episode 2. Yep. Yeah. Cross Marion is murdered. Yeah. He's declared dead, and his body disappears. And I have to reread the rest of the chapters to figure out what happened. But as far as I know, it's never revealed what happened to his body. But it is confirmed he's dead. And of course, Alan accuses the director guy who's kind of Kamui's superior, accuses him of possibly killing Jonah Cross, even though they suspect it was actually somebody else. Yeah, he says, I suspect somebody else who's another section of the Order who's kind of corrupt. Yeah. They don't reveal exactly who killed Jonah Cross until Seed of Destruction. Yeah, it takes several arcs to finally reveal this. And apparently between Invasion of the Black Order and this arc, apparently about a few months have passed by since in between these arcs. Okay, fine. And we also see them wearing brand new uniforms. These are basically uniforms, like military style uniforms, which is interesting, like all black with kind of what do I call it? Like ropes and like medals along with the symbol of the Black Order, which is still there. They're not exactly like coats, they're basically regular uniforms. I don't really know why that the writer decided to change the outfits for, because the original outfits were fine. These outfits, my guess is they want to go, because they're in London, they want to go for a little more a professional look. That's my personal guess, the reason why. Now, for this particular series, they did change the animation style slightly. In the case of Alan, as far as I could tell for him, they made 2 changes to him. One, his scar on his eye is slightly different. Normally, this is a pentagram on top of his forehead. It's changed to a regular star, and his arm has changed color. You see, when the series started, it was a dark red. And then after his innocence was arm was destroyed, when it came back, when it's not in his innocence form, it was black. And then for some reason in this series, it switched to a light red. As far as I know in story, there is no explanation for this at all. Yeah, there has been no explanation for this ever explained. Lena Lee, which you see in the end of last season, pretty much the same outfit she was wearing. I mean, there's some of the characters' faces are slightly different than they were depicted in the previous season. Also, when they show off Quarry, up until aside from appearing in this one scene in the opening episode, the guy doesn't do very much, almost nothing. It's toward the end. Also, I don't know if the animators kind of forgot this little factoid, but he actually kills Akuma with his teeth, not with his fingernails. My guess is somebody must have told him, hey, or maybe the writer must have contacted the studio and says, hey, that is now how he kills Akuma. He kills with his teeth, not shredding with his fingernails. So that could explain why at the end of the season, he's back to using his teeth again, and of course suck out the blood of Akuma. I'm not really sure why they changed it for. As far as I know, there's never been official explanation for that. Let's see, what else? Aside from the uniforms, a lot of the characters look almost virtually the same. When you first see Kamui, you see him in a suit. And then next time you see him, he's back in his coat that he was wearing in the previous season. Yeah, there's no explanation for this at all. One of the several things they'll really explain. Also, Levy and Bookman do not play a role in this season at all. They basically have been reduced to minor characters. Yeah, it seems like for these particular these episodes, it seems like the only characters that get a lot of focus in these episodes is Alan. Obviously, he's one of them. Along with Lena Lee, she gets a good amount of focus in this season. And Kanda, yeah, he gets one too. And I'm trying to think though. Miranda, yeah, Miranda gets my focus too. Yeah, she actually, despite the fact she doesn't do very much this season, she actually physically appears, from what I can tell, in pretty much every single episode, which is, gotta praise the anime for actually including her. Though they did make a couple slight changes to her. They did change her hair up a bit, and they changed kind of the look of her Innocent's weapon. Where previously it was still a circle. It was like little like dots in a circle. Yeah, that's how things supposed to look. Here it looked completely different where it's like all green now. Where it looks like mostly all green when it turns on and off. Yeah, as far as I know, that's another thing that was never explained. And as far as I know, by the end of the season, it still looks exactly the same. Despite the fact they fixed Corey, they fixed him, but they didn't fix Miranda or Alan of how their weapon's supposed to look. Lena Lee, for her innocence. Here's the thing about her. Despite the fact she does make physical appearance this season, she doesn't really do much of anything. Yeah, she appears in all the episodes, which I do praise the for doing that. But until like for the first half of the season, she's seen a little bit of the opening episode, and after that, she gets no action. She's seen, she's not doing anything up until like toward the very end. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Trying to think what else. Also, they give yeah, they give the Millennium Earl a new look. Yeah, he gets the most change in this particular season. Oh gosh, yes he does. Yeah, where the animators made him a bit thinner, they changed the look of his hat, which I thought that was weird. Also, his teeth can open up, which I don't remember this doing this in manga. I thought this was weird. Like, why the heck is he doing this for? Yeah, as far as I know, they don't really explain. They also introduced more Noah in this particular season. Like before, the only Noah that were introduced was Tiki Meek, Road, and Just Debbie. Also, the Talking Umbrella disappeared. Yeah, he does not make a physical appearance this whole season, which is a little weird. I guess for a lot of people who just watch the anime, it's been a while. I don't remember. As far as when the guy just disappeared, he wasn't killed. He just stopped appearing for no explained reason. And they do confirm the character's skin is dead. Yep, he's dead. Yeah, he never came back. Road, as far as I can tell, did get a new outfit. She's no longer in the sort of goth look she was before. She's basically showed more of her skin now. And also introduced her adoptive father, who's also one of the disciples of the Millennium Earl. Yeah, Millennium Earl's human look is quite interesting. He's a thin guy with a scruffy appearance, and of course the stigma across his forehead to identify he's a Noah. Because if you see him throughout the whole series, even when he's with his fellow Noah, he never goes his true form. They do hint at this in the final episode of the previous season, but here they finally see it, and he looks like a regular Noah we've been seeing for the rest of the series, and except he's got a scruffy look, and he's very thin. That's the only difference. And you also see him transform into the Millennium Earl. Yep. Let's see, what else? Not much for changes wise, but yeah. As for the story of the Phantom G1, this will also introduce a new Exorcist series. Timothy Heisen, I think his name is. Yeah, he appears in this arc, and he appears in the. He also appears in the final He also pretty much once he shows up in this arc, he pretty much is a regular character for the rest of the series. Even though he's absent for the first episode, he's not there technically. He's introduced in episode 2. Yeah, the whole Phantom G thing was a little weird, where apparently he has the ability to possess people to commit crimes. Yeah. So he becomes an exorcist because of the gem is forehead, and he becomes an apprentice to General Cloud 9, the only female general in the order. And of course, she does compliment him at the end of the thing, like, man, I've got a really good apprentice. And also, there's this girl who's basically his teacher in a way at the orphanage. So, because of the fact the orphanage built the kids and I would say the superior mother, the nun that was basically in charge of the orphanage, moved to London, and that's pretty much where this island is, off the coast of London. Yeah, it's an island now instead of just basically on top of a freaking mountain. That's what the original location was. Yeah, this one's basically like several buildings, which at least praise them for that. My guess is they must have got a boatload of money. They must have got like a ton of donations to build this building. Either that, they had a pretty good source of wealth. Yeah, and also when they show off, when they mentioned there was one particular item in Paris, if this thing was scratched or at least destroyed, the Black Order would go bankrupt if the thing was damaged. They were so lucky it wasn't damaged. But they, in order to allow this particular extra to join the order, one of his demands is that the Black Order has to pay for his crimes, basically pay for all the items he's stolen. Okay. Yeah, they also fight some Akuma. This particular two-part is also the start at the beginning and the end of the series, where there's hints of Alan becoming the 14th Noah, and at this point in the series, I think we just prior to going out the Phantom G, they say that despite the fact that he might become a Noah, he's still considered an exorcist because he's not turning against the Order. So for the time being, he's pretty much an exorcist, and the dream as such. And while having Howard Link, who was actually introduced at the end of the previous season, continues to monitor him. And he's like this up until toward the end of the Artificial Exorcism, which I'll get to in a minute. Yeah. Let's see what else. Yeah, after they catch Phantom G after defeating Makuma, which they also pretty much almost partially destroy the orphanage. Yep. And also his ability is that he can possess other Akuma. Well, mainly just level 2s and turn him good, turn him instance, which is a pretty interesting ability. He also has like a talking samurai he talks to, which was it just me or did this series move up Shaman King while doing that? Yes, I'm not kidding. A samurai ghost being a sort of, let's say, a partner for a little boy. Does that sound fairly familiar? It sounds like Shaman King. I'm not kidding about that. It seems like this character was a partial rip of you from Shaman King. That's just my personal anyways. The Artificial Exes, which they actually hinted at these people at the end of the Phantom G arc. The Artificial Exes, they are technically called the third Exes. They're the third generation Exes who are pretty much people who are half human, half Akuma. Yes, I'm not kidding. And their members, people part of this, other people who are like the Exes, who apparently are the Black Order's magicians, in a way. Basically, people who cast or are personal sorcerers, in a way. That's pretty much their job. Yep. And it's revealed Howard Link is one of them as well. Yeah, you don't see him do much of anything in the Invasion of Black Order arc, but here he does a good amount of stuff. And of course, in the Artificial Exes arc, this is a good character piece for Kanda because they reveal his backstory in this arc. My guess is this is probably something the writer have been saving for some time, because for a while, not a lot of people know anything about Kanda. And then this arc pretty much fleshed out his backstory. Apparently he was an Exorcist before his current self, and he was just actually not that as old as he looks. He's basically he's technically 90. He looks he's about 18 or 19 years old. And it's also revealed that the main villain of this arc, who's also the Millennium Earl, by the way, is this character named Karma, who turns out, believe it or not, yeah, they revealed this in the final episode, that there's this woman that was kind of haunting him for pretty much like his past, and it turns out she was actually reborn as this guy. So the woman he loves was reborn as a guy. Wow, very bizarre indeed. The fact that they actually did this. Luckily enough, they didn't have any homosexual tension between two guys. Thank God the anime didn't do that. Yeah, then when they decided to defeat the guy, they send him to, of all places, send him to Mardia, the city that's been in ruins for years. Yes, and it's the first time the city's been seen since the Ghost of Mardia arc. Yeah, it's if you just watch the anime, it has been a long time since you've seen this place, and it looks exactly the same. And of course, Kanda is absent for the next few episodes. He's referenced a few times, and because of the actions that Alan does, somehow and by how he gets to now during the course of the official exorc, the North America branch is attacked by the Noah, which makes it the second branch of the Order to be attacked by the Noah. Oh yeah, actually, scratch it. It's the third one because the European branch was attacked in the Invasion of Black Order. The Asian branch was attacked during the Edo and Asia branch arc, and now this one. I would say probably the only one, the only branch they never show in this series, if they ever have one, is if there's one based in Africa or South America. As far as I know, they never actually shown these ones. They've only shown three branches. They reference Central, but the series has never shown where the heck this place is, and they have never shown what the place looks like or where it is. Like I said, they do show the Pope, which looks like a Catholic priest. I've seen pictures of the Pope. This guy is like when I saw this guy and some of his mannerisms, how he acted, I'm like, wow, this is something else I saw from another series where an older guy being the boss and making irrational decisions. To me, that sounds very familiar. That sounds like Head Captain Yamamoto from Bleach. Not kidding about this. Yeah, despite the fact there is overwhelming evidence that should be presented, guess what this guy does? He ignores it. Yeah, he tells the guy presenting evidence to shut his mouth. I'm like, seriously, dude? What the heck is your problem? Well, I'm saying something is like, yeah, there is proof that Kanda is not dead, and what does he do? He ignores it because he's an idiot. Yes, this Pope is an idiot. Yeah, he only makes 2 appearances the entire season. And he does affect the series in a very negative way. Yeah, talk about a character that is really kind of stupid. Also, in the following arc, Howard Link apparently dies. Yes, though they do show him a lot. I will talk about that in part 6 of a recap of the arc of stuff that's been happening since the last chapter that was happening for this series, which was chapter 208. Yep, I'll talk about that in part 6. Let's see. Otherwise, though, the Artificial Excerpt was really good. Seeds of Destruction kind of, is the beginning of the end of this particular series. Why? Because you have Alan, who's been in prison. I'm like, now I had seen this, I'm like, okay, the Order turns against him. The group of people who work with him since the beginning of the series turn against him because he's turning to something that they don't like. Why does this sound so familiar? This is by far the third series I've seen this in. Yes, the third series. I've seen this in Yu Hakusho when the main character is revealed to be a demon, was sent from a demon. Yeah, because apparently they don't care about because they don't like demons, and because he apparently descended from a demon, they want to kill him. And for Shudarukin, it was kind of the same thing. He was kind of trying to do something that the group that the main character is working for doesn't like very much, so they want to kill him. They did the same thing in that one as well. This one, actually, even though they did turn against him, they didn't try to kill him. But man, 3 series I have watched since I've been doing these anime reviews, and this happens. Yes, not kidding about this. This has happened. This is really bizarre, the fact that this happened. He's briefly in prison. He actually he's in prison for about 3 episodes. Then he breaks out. Yep. Though he's kept in prison, sealed up, and then of course this Cardinal shows up completely out of nowhere. They don't really identify who this Cardinal is. Like they don't give him a name, like an actual person name. He's referred to as a Apocalypto, which is basically kind of, how should I put this? It's kind of a similar name to something that's considered not canon in a way. So they kind of give this guy say, oh yeah, this guy is not canon to whatever what it is, because Apocalypto typically is referred to stuff that's not technically canon, and that's kind of what the name comes from. And it's nothing to do with Apocalypse at all. It's something that is not canon. Yeah, that's probably what the writer probably took it from. That's my personal guess. Also, Tiki Meek and Rogue decided to show up completely out of nowhere and decided to help Alan because it's the host of the 14th. So that kind of does make sense there. As for how they knew which cell he was in, that, as far as I know, was never explained. I mean, yeah, they have the whole Noah memories thing, but they never really explained, like, okay, they knew he was at the Order headquarters, he knew he was imprisoned, but how did they know which cell he was in? That was never explained. Also, during this arc, I think it actually started in the previous arc, Levy and Bookman are captured. And they remain captured for pretty much the rest of the time we see them in the anime. Because the rest of Noah clan wanted information on the 14th Noah. Yep. So eventually Alan leaves at the end of episode, I think it's like 12, I think it is. Now they do cut one line out of the anime, which I thought was kind of weird. Now, this line was in the manga, but for some reason this is not in the anime for some reason. Now, they had this little moment like right after Rogue disappeared and Tiki went off to whatever. And of course, Tim Campy, who had been basically turned into a giant-sized version of himself. Yeah. Lena Lee basically catches up with him after he's been stripped from his status officially by Black Order as Nexus. So he takes one of the gates of Noah's Ark and goes wherever he wants. Lena catches up with him. Now, this next part is definitely taken from the manga, where he hugs her, says she always considers people at home. They do cut out the line that he tells her that he loves her. Yep, they do cut out that line. I have no idea why, despite the fact it's a really good line. And it's something that the writer, as far as I can tell, even the anime has hinted at this, that Alan Walker is in love with Lena Lee. Yes, why not, even though she's technically a year older than he is, but she's a smoking hot woman. Yep. Also, one thing I also got praised this season, and this is the first time I've ever seen this in the actual series itself, a scene where Miranda and Corey actually talk to each other, have an actual conversation, because if you watch the entire series, these two barely interact at all, and I do appreciate these two talking to each other. Yep, and yes, I have read the manga. I can't remember every single thing I have in manga, but yeah, I got to appreciate the anime doing this because, these two characters who met Alan Walker in 2 straight arcs. Now, Miranda first met Alan in the Reversed City arc, and which was actually not very long of an arc in the anime. No, it was actually about 4 episodes plus an epilogue. The Vampire Knight arc, which actually came right after this one. Actually, it was just several episodes after this one. It was like several episodes after this one. Like a good, I think it was about just 6 episodes after Miranda last appeared. That's when Corey first showed up. And they do mention about how they first met Alan Walker and how they saved their lives. And if it had been for Alan, they would have still lived the same lives they had been. Like, Corey would still be in his castle, and Miranda would be stuck in a city that's living the same day for 34 days. Yep. Let's see what else. I can't really think of anything else, aside from the fact that Alan does revisit the character of Mother, who was last seen in a filler episode, but it's nice the fact we revisit this character. And they also, in the final episode, a flashback of how, kind of what happened after General Cross met Alan for the first time. Well, officially anyways, like after Alan first meets him. You kind of see what happens afterwards, where you see that he's actually stayed with the character Mother. Yeah, she's never going to pop her. She goes, call her Mother. And through staying, General Cross basically being there, and Alan basically is still in shock what happened with his adoptive father. And eventually they show up, like, they kind of show like a kind of end of this flashback where they reveal that it's kind of, well, Mother's idea for him to take up the name Walker because it fits him. Yes. As for what his real name is, as far as I can remember, the series has never revealed exactly what Alan Walker's real name is, because the name Alan was actually Amanda Walker's dog, and of course Walker was technically his adopted father's last name. So there's that. As what his real first name is, as far as I know, the series never revealed this at all. Trying to think though. And of course he goes pretty much on the run, and of course he keeps his stuff hidden, and of course Conde comes back to redeem himself, and it's also shown, of course they hinted at this back in the third episode of the season, where he kind of knew about Alan turning to 14 and care at that point, but because he's kind of responsible for the whole thing, he wants to go and capture Walker himself. Okay, fine. It's something though he doesn't really interact with Quarry. As a matter of fact, he's never interacted with Quarry as far as I can remember the whole entire series. Or even Miranda, for that matter. It seems like the only character besides Walker he interacts with is just Lena Lee and Levy. That's it. Those are the only two he interacts with at all. Quarry he never interacts with at all. He never even speaks a word to him at all. Even the same thing with Miranda. Yeah. Also, there was a cute moment of when Alan and Conde were fighting, and Miranda's like, okay, let's. Breaker's like, okay. So she just pulls out of nowhere a bag of sweets. And Alan's like, yay, sweets. And Conde's like, no thank you, I'm walking off. Typical Conde. Yep. Overall, this was a fantastic season. And despite the fact that this series overall has had a few plot holes, some stuff that was simply just never explained. And I didn't like the fact that they removed one line of dialogue from Alan Walker in the penultimate episode of the season. I don't know why, but they did, which is kind of weird. I mean, yes, it's kind of a similar scene to that from the film The Last, when Naruto reveals to Hinata that he loves her. It's kind of a similar scene, except that it's Hinata. In that particular scene, Hinata was going away with the villain of that film. This one, it's Alan Walker walking away. It's a kind of similar scene, except that the difference is, in this scene, instead of the girl leaving, it's the guy. So it's a very similar scene. It's just that I've seen so much anime in the past year, like almost past 2 years, that I kind of get like remembering stuff that happens in our series. Final thoughts for now on the series. This was a fantastic series to watch, and once I saw, like, when I looked up like who voiced the characters, like who did the dub for these characters, just before I got a chance to just get a good idea who I'm looking forward to seeing. Once I saw it, Todd Heppercorn did the dubbing for the main character, I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely jumping out to the series right away as soon as I finish reading the manga. And if I go Colin Clickenbeard, one of my favorite dub actors. And of course, Christopher Sabat and Ian St. Clair. I mean, if you watch the series, if you look up the dub actors of the series, a lot of them basically worked in both Fairy Tail and Fullmetal Alchemist. Yeah, that's what it looks like. And also the character Timothy. Yeah, his dub actor is the same one who voiced Windy from Fairy Tail. No joke. It's the same exact voice actor. Otherwise, that's really it for this particular review. Stay tuned for tomorrow for my review of the next chapter for Hunter x Hunter, a Comic Corner, well, probably 2 anyways, and the next part of this anime review, if I get a chance to do it tomorrow, well, I'm going to reread the chapters that happened right after the series, and basically I'm going to reread chapters 209 to 229, and I looked it up. Apparently, since the anime ended 2 years ago, apparently only about 6 chapters have been released. That's because the series has been released on a quarterly basis. Yeah, and the things suffer through hiatus, okay? But there's the next video. Bye.